really pleased you're here today to find out a little bit more about yourself and why you're in business. Because for me, I believe the most important thing in business is knowing why you're in business. What's your reason? I'm a believer that your why is all about your purpose in life. And if you're doing your purpose in life, life is going to be easy. If you're not doing your purpose in life, it's a little bit more difficult. And it's interesting, I'll add on something here to Jennie, if I may. I said to Jennie a little bit earlier, I want to introduce you to Jeff. And she said, but I don't do copywriting anymore. It's not my passion anymore. I'm doing graphic design is what I do as well. So it was interesting because she's recognised, she said, it's not my passion. And when you're in business, it's really important that what you're doing is your passion. That what you're doing is gets you out of bed in the morning and wants you to go where it is you have to go or what it is that you need to do. So can I ask you briefly, with show of hands, how many people love what they do? Okay. Sort of. Well, I hope by the end of this session today we will have been able to sort of maybe get you to have a little bit of clarity around that. Because I believe the most important thing is for you to have a dream. To have a dream of what you want from life yourselves. And if you can create your business around that, that's even better. But of course there are times when you are in business and you're doing it, the reason you're doing it is because you maybe have children or you have to earn a living and you're doing that at the moment so you can do what it is that turns you on. So the interesting thing is with knowing your why, you can know what your why is but have to do something else at the moment so you can do what it is later. But if you know what that why is, you can be preparing for it. So it is quite often very age related when I talk about the why as well. So how many people here actually have a dream of who they want to be, what they want to be, why they're here? Okay. Would you, the rest of you, like to create that? Would you like to find out what you're here for? Okay. For the people who put up their hand, I'd like to, how much do you want it? You can have a dream, but nothing happens with a dream unless you do something about it. Because everyone in this room has enormous potential to be whatever they want, to be whoever they want. There is no reason for you never to achieve the highest potential you have. But you have to know what it is and you have to want it. And you have to do something about it. It doesn't magically just happen. So today you're going to be seeing 4 little videos. They're small, short, but I think they're really important. Can I ask how many people here actually watch motivational or videos to get your juices flowing as such? So virtually all of you. So why am I in business? How many people here have ever thought about to ask themselves that question before? Some of you. Okay. It's really important that you know why you're in business because you need to know what you're heading toward. And at the very beginning you will have said, here it says you start with the end in mind. And to me it's all about you, when you start a business, you have to know what you want. And we will talk about exit strategies at the end towards the end of this particular session. But it's really important that you know why you're doing what you're doing. What's the reason for it? What do you want out for it? Why are you doing it? So, what is your business? I'm going to give you some questions. And I want you to think about them. Because it's really important that you know what is your business. And we're going to be talking about your why. Who you need, when and where you find them, how you go about it, and an exit strategy. But this is just getting you to start to think, because it's really important. You start thinking about where you're going and what you're doing with your life. Are you wasting your time doing what you want, or what you're doing at the moment? Are you doing at the moment what is a skill set you're learning for your future? Why are you doing what you're doing? So one of the most important things is mindset, and that's why that dream video. Because it's your mind that will create whatever happens in your life. You're fully responsible for everything that goes on in here. And this is what makes you a success or not a success, in your own eyes. Success means different things for different people. But Richard Branson wrote, an entrepreneur is an innovator, a job creator, a game changer, a business leader, a disruptor, and an adventurer. I'd like to ask you, are you those things if you're in your own business? Because it's really important that you start to have a look at these things. If you're going to be in business, business is tough. And if you're not doing what you love to do, it's going to be hard every day to go to business and do whatever it is you do. When I started business myself, really, I started my hobby. And my hobby became my business. And yes, it's over 20 years, 25, 26 years ago now, when I started. But I started. And from a networking perspective, I was a promoter back in those days. And it's interesting because I started to recognise the people. Had a personal development natural therapy centre. And I noticed I had a lot of practitioners who were really good at what they did, but they couldn't market themselves. They had no idea what they were doing. And this is when I started to get an idea about skill sets. I didn't understand it as I understand it now, because in those days, other than Myers-Briggs, I don't think there are any other profiling systems out there. And that really didn't help a lot with the way I was doing business in that time. And of course now it is quite different. There are lots of different profiling systems, and depending on what is right for you as an individual, there are lots of different ones. I have preferred ones, and I think from a small business perspective, there is nothing that comes anything like wealth dynamics. It's easy to understand, and it's easy for you to understand your own skill set, so that you know who you're going to put around you. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But your mindset is really about using the best resources you've got, your own natural resources, your skill set that you have. And if you can get your mind round to what you need there, it'll make a difference. So an effective mindset is one that makes the best use of available resources, your time, your energy, and your efforts, and uses them to create positive change, because you can either be here from a positive mindset or you can be from a negative mindset. It's your choice, because everything in life is your choice. So where you are is where you put yourself for whatever reason. And sometimes we have to go to that not nice place. I know, I've been there. We have to go there so we can find out what we don't want, so we've got somewhere to go. Because I believe that the world has to have balance. So you've got to have good, bad, north, south, up, down. That's the way the world goes. If you haven't experienced one, you don't know you don't know what it's like. So you have to go down to find out whether you want to be there or not, so you appreciate when you're up. So it's okay to be in both those places. But you don't want to stay in the negative one too long, because it's not good for you. And you're not going to accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. It's not about trying to do everything and be everything. It's making the very best of what you have and enjoying the process of living. Because we are very fortunate today that we have the ability as people to create our own business. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that was difficult. People just did what mum or dad did, and But today, you can be anything. You can go anything. You can learn. I've gone back to studying. I haven't studied for 50 years. And I must admit, I am enjoying it. I never liked it back in those days, but I am enjoying it. We can do anything. Now, my parents, that was not something my parents or grandparents could necessarily do easily. So now you have the ability to learn anything you want, to be anything you want. We've got the internet. The internet has just changed the world. You can find out anything you want. But discernment is really important, because just because something is up there doesn't mean it's necessarily right. And somebody said to me the other day, commented about Wikipedia. And I said, yeah, but Wikipedia isn't always right. Because I can go and put on my thoughts about something which other people don't necessarily agree about on Wikipedia, and it gets accepted. And just because I write it, it's right for me, it doesn't mean it's necessarily right for everybody else. So you have to be discerning in what you read on the internet, because it's somebody's opinion. And we all have a different internal map of the world. That's dependent on a lot of things, our beliefs and our values and our experiences and what has happened in our life. So everybody has their own internal map, which is different. So what is right for one isn't necessarily right for the other. I remember Jim Rohn saying some years ago, I was fortunate enough to work with him for 4 years. I presume most of you know who Jim Rohn was. He was known as the business philosopher of the 20th century. He was a remarkable man. It was probably around the time when I first met John, was around the Jim Rohn days. And I remember he used to say, where you are today is where your thinking was 5 years ago. And it's quite true, because we actually, when we think of something, we start actioning it, and it will become reality. So your thought is equal to the action, to what the reality is. So it's really important that you understand that whatever you do, it starts from the thinking perspective. So when something's not going the way you want it, where was your thinking? But from a business perspective, or where you are, and if you're very young like some of you here, you're the lucky ones, because you've got a lot more time to do whatever than, say, I have. So where you are today is a result of the thinking and actioning that you have taken in the past. And it's really important that you have to understand that you need to do the actioning, because a thought is just a thought. It's nothing until you make it a reality. And it's your choice to make it a reality. So if you don't know where you want to be in 5 years, you're already there, because you're going to be exactly where you are now. And how often do we think as people something we might like and think it's a long way out? We have to start doing something to make that become a reality. So if there's anything you see that you want to be or experience, start thinking about it and start putting the action into place, even if it's something that's years down the track. If you're an entrepreneur, and if you're in business for yourself, doesn't necessarily mean you're an entrepreneur. It's a word that seems to be thrown around a lot these days, and just because people are in business, they think they're an entrepreneur. And the reason businesses fall over is because the people aren't entrepreneurs. It's my take. Because you've got to be, as Richard Branson said earlier, you've got to be a risk taker. You've got to make hard decisions when you're a business owner. You have to have a strong vision. If you don't have the vision for where you're going, what you want from life, from your business, from your world, it's not going to happen. And of course, the one thing when you've got a business, it all starts with your vision. And to me, if you don't understand what your vision is and it's not clear to you, and this is one of the things we'll do in the workshop, we will actually work on a vision. If you don't understand what your vision is, you can't create it. So you need to really know what that dream is, and you need to be able to articulate it. And if you're in business, you need to be also articulate it. I believe that on a website, you should have your vision there. Only a few lines, because when you really write a vision statement, which can be a couple of pages long, it's about getting all the information, getting the emotion out. And if you can stand and read that and the tears will run from your eyes, you know, the emotion will be so great, there is no way you won't achieve that. You've got to want it. Real entrepreneurs never give up. They are persistent, and they will go, and they will go, and they will go forever. Whether everybody goes with them, that depends. But if it's what they really want, they will continue doing whatever it is they want, for whatever they have, and do whatever it is they have to do. They'll also be generous. If you look at all the really great entrepreneurs out there, they're very, very generous people because they give. By giving is how you receive. And learning to receive is one of the hardest things as people that we find as well. So it's all about learning to give. And I teach this in networking, so some of you know that I teach people how to build business relationships using word-of-mouth marketing as the main marketing tool, called networking. When I started teaching this 25, 26 years ago, networking were computer peripherals. It was a different time. People didn't network because they didn't understand what it was. Whereas now it's a word a lot of people use. One of the things that, from a generosity perspective, that is so important, and if you're going to be in business, is that you understand you will receive by giving. If you don't give, you're not going to get back. So the first thing you need to learn in business is how to give. And you give more than what you expect. It's with clients, you give your clients more than they expect. It's all about customer service. Entrepreneurs have goals. They have really strict goals that they keep for themselves, you know, daily, weekly, monthly, 3-monthly. They create their own goals. And they know where they're going, and they work to a timetable. So for me personally, I'm not that way wired, but I do it. I live and I document everything. I write down everything I do. I know what I'm doing. My diaries are always done October this month, and I have my diaries. I have on my wall calendar, I've got that all up already. My diary for next year, I've now started to fill that in. I've got a tiny little one and a bigger one that I'll carry with me. And people laugh at me, and I got told yesterday, why don't you get rid of that and do it on your phone? I say, no, I don't trust it. What happens? It runs out. The amount of people that I find that don't arrive for something because it hasn't worked. They don't always synchronise. Yes, put it in there, but don't always rely on that. My experience. If you want to be successful, you have to plan for it. It doesn't just happen. You have to make it happen. Entrepreneurs also overcome challenges. No challenge is too big. You find another way around it. You find someone who can help you and support you to do that. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. They're continually setting new goals. Because life changes, things change. People have said to me over the years, you keep moving where you're going in your goalposts. I do, because my business and me are a living thing. It's moving, it's happening. How can it... So I have to change how I'm viewing my world as a result of the changes that are environmentally happening around me, or with the people around me, or what's happening with me. And the other thing that real entrepreneurs do is they stay focused. And staying focused is not always easy. And for me personally, over the last couple of years, I've found being focused really difficult. And as some of you know, I've taken my business home. And it's interesting the difference in that, because I've got my focus back. So I've worked out for me the environment I need for me to stay focused. I was running at 1,000,000 miles an hour before. Got me sick. because I just couldn't focus. But I was aware I was having a problem focusing. And so anyone who knows me, I was saying, I'm struggling with being focused. Now I've got that direction back and I've got my focus. And I realise now how important that is and how much energy I was using because of the lack of it. So I suggest you it's a good idea to focus. Or stay focused. So what is your business? A lot of people just, oh, it's a business plan and we do all those things, but what is it really? It's important that you look at a whole lot of different things around your business. The first being, who's your target market? The age, the gender, geographically. Where are they? What are they? Who are they? Who do you need? Who is your target market? And I find that's one thing that most people find very difficult because they're not really sure who their target market is. And I see it a lot with start-up business people. They tend to go to areas and into networking events and things like that, and it's not their target market. So it's really important you know what your target market is. You need to also know what are the challenges that you are actually supporting people with to solve. So you have to understand what your clients' challenges are so that you can help them. Because they're going to know then whether you have what it is they need. And if it's not you, do you know someone who has what they need? And that's where networking comes in. Of course, because not everyone is for everyone. And it's all about finding the people who can support the people who are around you, your clients or your friends, to have what it is they want. Because you can't be there for everyone. You've got to know the value you deliver. And you have to be able to vocalise what is the value you give your customers. What is the value you give to yourself? And what is the value you're putting out there into the world? It's important you ask that question also. You have to understand, and with the internet it's so much easier than it used to be, but it's understanding how you're going to reach people, how you're going to acquire your new customers, how are you going to keep your customers. You have to learn to understand that as well. In today's marketplace, there are many people doing similar things, and it's learning how to differentiate what you do from other people who do it. I personally don't believe in competition. I believe there's plenty for everybody out there. And the people who want what I have will come to me, and the people who want what you do, even if we do similar things, will go to you. Because I won't be what they need, just as you won't be what they need sometimes. So you have to be able to be really clear how you differentiate from anybody else. And that's where your website comes in, and that's where your communication comes in with people, is knowing exactly how do you express exactly why you're different and why someone would want you and want your services. Also knowing how you're going to generate the revenue you want. Now this comes back to your planning as well. When you're planning your business, you have to be planning, what do you want from it? What are you going to earn from it? How long is it going to take to get it? What can you do? One of the things I find with a lot of people, and I did an expo over the weekend, and it was surprising the amount of people there who had given up their job. And I had a couple of people who are ex-clients of mine actually who came to see me and said, I've had to go back to work again. And I said, and the reason being is because I said to you at the time, don't give up what you do that's bringing in an income. Because if you do that, you then get to the situation where you're going to be worried about the money that comes in the door. So if you're still doing some work or doing something that's generating an income while you build your business, it's much better for you. It takes the stress away. And the biggest thing with small business owners is the stress level. You're talking to an expert at it. I've been really good at it. So you have to know what your cost structure is. You have to understand what your profit margin is. And that's all. You need to have a good bookkeeper, and you need to have an accountant who can help you if you don't know how to do that. Your vision, your why, what's your story? People love stories. So if you can sell your story in your business, people will hear you better. There are some natural storytellers. I'm not a natural storyteller, but some people are really, really good at it, and they just keep you there. And I think it's something that you're either born with, you are, or you're not. But if you can become a better storyteller than you are now, if you're not a really good one, you'll do yourself a favour, because you need to sell your business as a story. You sell you as a story. Any good storytellers in the room? Of course, down the back. And I think that was one of the things John taught me. You've got to tell the story. Stop worrying about playing by the rules when you speak. Just tell the story. But some people have these wonderful imaginations that are just hold you. Years ago, there used to be joke telling, used to be long jokes that would keep you going forever. And you'd be sitting waiting to hear where the story was going to go. We don't hear as much of that these days. But that, being able to tell a really good story and have the people with you is a wonderful gift to have. Because by doing that, you can gauge your audience so they are with you by understanding your audience. Because we are all different. We perceive information differently depending on who we are. From a networking perspective, the way you'll network as an introvert is very different to the way you'll network if you're an extrovert. The way you do business will be different depending on how you process, how your thinking processing is. It's really important that you think about that. So what is your story? What is your dream? Because that is your vision. Your mission is how you're going to get there. So even though you've got this enormous dream of what you want, if you don't know how you're going to get there, you're never going to get there. So that's where your planning is. This is the best video. It is incredible. He's written a lot of really, really good books, and he's written one on why. He's also, has a lot of videos. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. Has anyone got a dream of what they want and don't believe they can achieve it? Well, you can achieve it if you can dream it. You've got to do the work. And if you're a solo entrepreneur, you have to learn how to do it smartly, unless you've got a lot of money. So you have to learn how to network, how to collaborate, how to joint venture, how to get virtual assistants, how to have a coach, have a mentor, have people around you who can support you to go where you want to go. As an individual, we have our own thinking style. That thinking style is only going to cover certain skill sets. Now, for me personally, when it comes to my bookkeeping or my accounting and all that, that terrifies me. But I have a good bookkeeper and I have a good accountant who explains what I need to know. I'm not wired that way. When it comes to technology, and of course it's interesting because this is all left brain stuff. When it comes to technology, I'm pretty good with what I can do once I know how to do it. But it's not natural to me. And then if something doesn't work, I go into a panic because I don't know what to do. So for those left brain people in the room, you have no idea in this day and age in business just how lucky you are because you can work and make happen what you need. But here again, then you come to the other side of the equation, which is somebody like me, being an extrovert. You know, we like people, it's easy to talk to people, you don't mind where you are, you know, who you have to talk to or where you have to go, or walking into a room and knowing nobody in it. You don't even think about that. For an introvert, that's very hard, depending how introverted they are. For some, it's virtually impossible. I remember years ago when I first started teaching networking, people, I regularly would have people who would come, and this is when networking was really, really new. I had people who would sit in the car and cry, and after half an hour some would come in, and there's two of them in particular who are very, very well known in Brisbane now, and they're networkers. One of them tells a story from stage off and in her courses. But it was such an effort to go there because it's not their natural strength. But they honed it. And it's interesting, I've got a few, three particular people who are clients who are all very introverted, who have learnt the techniques and the skills they need so they can walk into a room and nobody would know that they weren't comfortable. And they'll tell you they're still not comfortable, but they know what they have to do and how to make it work. So it's like any skill set, it's learnable. So let's start doing a bit of planning. As is said, there are many roads up the mountain. Businesses have highs and lows, but you have to know where you are now, and you have to know where you want to go. So there's one road that's going to lead you home, wherever that is, to what your success is for you, where you want to be. And success isn't necessarily money. Success can be whatever it is to you. And there are thousands of roads that lead into the wilderness. I've been up many of them and realised, I've got to change tack. I'm on the wrong road. So it's very, for all of you, you need to have a look at, are you on the right road? If you're not on the right road, you might need to take a little bit of a diversion by seeing where it is you want to go. But you've got to know where you want to go. So, I'm going to ask you, do you have a vision? Do you have a vision? If you do, what is it? Is it written? Is it recorded? Your vision will change a bit. Okay. I'd like you, have you all got a piece of paper there? I want you to write down 3 lines, just 3 or 2 sentences of what your vision is. Your vision is and your mission is how you're going to do it. So just give me 1 line even. What is it that is your dream? What is it that is your vision for you and your business? Being an entrepreneur, it's neither part-time or a full-time job. It is a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle that you do what you want when you want, because you love what you do. You can't wait to get up in the morning and get on and do it. You struggle to go to bed at night if you work from home. And when I was working here, it was a struggle to leave here because I didn't want to leave here. I'm surprised the amount of people who don't even think about what it is they want, where they're going. They just live from day to day. But if you're in business, you have to know where you want to be, where you want to go. And being an entrepreneur, it's tough initially. It's not easy. Running your own business is hard. I'll be the first to tell you that. But it has great benefits, and it gets easier with time. For me, goal setting is really, really important. Being fortunate enough to work with Jim Rohn changed my life, and he taught me about SMART goals. Most of you have probably heard about SMART goals. But I now do goals which are called smarter goals. There's an E and an R on the end because it's very, very important. And when SMART goals or smarter goals is every letter has a word that connects with it. So you've got specific for S, measurable for M, attainable for A, realistic for R, timely for T. E is for emotion. E is for what you put into what it is, the goal you're setting. And R is reward. I believe that if you have a goal, you need to have a reward that's going to come at the end of that goal. But if you don't know where you're going, you don't know what it is you want, and you don't know when you want it, it's not going to happen. So we do need to do short term. When I'm in masterminding, for instance, we work in 90-day goals. And every fortnight I want to know where you're at that goal, because every goal, no matter what it is, has got action steps. And you've got to know the action steps that go with each so you stay on track. Because if you're not doing a little bit towards your goal all the time, every week, you're not going to get that goal when you wanted it. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's really important when you set goals that they're clear and they're precise. There's no sense in me saying, in the next 6 weeks I'm going to lose 3 stone. Or 3, well, in kilograms, well, I think in stone still. I am a dinosaur. I'm going to lose a certain amount of weight. That is not attainable, it is not achievable, it's not possible. I've set myself up for failure. If I said that was over 12 months, 18 months, it's different. So this is why the smarter goals are so important. That when you set a goal, you know exactly that you are going to achieve it if you do what you plan to do. That's why New Year's resolutions don't work for people, because they do it on emotion. And of course it's not a smarter goal. You know, firstly it's not specific enough, and it's not attainable, and it's not timely, and it's not achievable, and so it's not realistic. So it's never going to happen. So it's important that you understand that. Now this is something that's really important, is who you surround yourself in business. Because you are a product of who you have around you. So I'd like you to think about, who does your business need for it to be successful, other than you? Who do you have around you now, and who do you need? Because if anyone here is looking for anyone in particular, talk to me. So I'd like you just to think for a moment, who are 3 people, alive or dead, that for you, you would regard as a mentor? That people who inspire you. And think about why. Why do they inspire you? What is it about them that gets you out, makes a difference to your life? Who are actually wanting to go where you're wanting to go. Because if don't have people around you who want to go where you want to go, you're not going to get there. Because a business isn't created by one person. It's created by the people around it, whether you're employing them or not employing them. It makes no difference. The people around you are who will make a difference to what you do in your life. And then we're going to come to the virtues. Is there anyone here who's never heard about the virtues? The virtues are the solid beliefs that come down through life, that have from a long, long time ago. It's where our beliefs, what our deep inside values and beliefs are. Now, the 9 noble virtues I put up here. Courage, and I believe if you're in business for yourself, without courage you will not make it. Because business is about having courage, that you can walk through anything you need to walk through. And if you don't have courage, there is no way you'll do it. Truth, honour, fidelity, discipline, hospitality, that's like networking, self-reliance, industriousness and perseverance. Those 9, I believe, are vital. I suggest when you're on Google, just write in virtues or the Virtues Project. It's a really interesting project on virtues. It's a way of life. It's the way you live your life. Because it's understanding your own belief system and your own values. And each one of those words can mean something different to each one of us. Because a word is how we perceive a word. Because I use a word, my meaning could be quite different to your meaning. But it's what it means to you that's important. Because you are a result, as I am, of the experiences had in life. So if you want to be successful as a business owner, you've got to, it's the inside as well as the outside. It's what's going on internally for you. Life in business is all about who do you need to be? What are the qualities you personally need to have to be able to survive business? So I found these and I just thought they were apt. Because if you believe you can do something, you can do it. Everything is about belief. If you think big, if your dream, the bigger your dream is, the better. We limit ourselves. We think too little. So create your dream so it's so big it's enormous, so you've got something to strive for. One of the biggest mistakes that people make, and that tended to be in the past more than it is today, because people keep working now. But in years gone by, men would retire at 50. Most men, or not most, sorry, I'm generalising too much then, a lot of men, and it is documented, that a lot of men died within 5 to 10 years because their goal was to work, then they didn't work. So it's all about, you've got to be continually striving for something more. So in your business, for your business to be successful, you need to be, what you're wanting needs to be ahead of where you are all the time. So think big. It's really important. And make the biggest dream you can make. Because you'll surprise yourself at what you can achieve. Because you'll more than likely achieve it. Talk to any of the greats out there and they will tell you that they knew where they're going. They didn't think they were ever going to get there. Look at someone like Oprah. You know, there was a wonderful thing on Facebook this last week, and it was giving a list of the people who had failed. Sorry, the list of the people who were told they'd failed and they'd be no good and they'll never make it. And there was a picture with them all. And they're who we regard today, like Einstein. You know, people today that we regard, they were highly successful. But they had people telling them they couldn't make it, but they had it in here, what they wanted. They knew where they wanted to go. Passion, if you don't have passion, it doesn't happen. You've got to love what you do. You've also got to have the priorities and everything that go with it because you've been in business. You've got to be vulnerable. I think vulnerability is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves and give to other people. For people to see us vulnerable, I believe is really, really important to see we are all human and we are all vulnerable at times. Resilience, if you don't have resilience, it's like courage, you're not going to make it. You've got to be brave. And don't give up. You just keep going, and that's what entrepreneurs do. They keep going. It's what Edison did. He just kept going until he got what he wanted. He got the light bulb. So our mindset, and as I said, it's important that you're with people who are like-minded, because our mind is the garden. We water it or it dies. So what do you want in your life? Dale Beaumont has a wonderful saying, and it's, are you green and growing or ripe and rotting? Quite true. Puts the two apples up. So what are you? Are you, because your business is you, I believe if you're not the same in business as you are in your personal life, you're not congruent. Because today business is different. because we have the internet. People can find out anything about you they want. And if they can't, for me, I don't want to know you. Because why are you hiding? But you can find out anything about anyone if you want, if you know how to do it. So, has everybody got 5 important people around them? The one thing I notice in business, the people who aren't always helpful are your family and friends. Because something about family and friends is they want to protect you from getting hurt. So more often than not, they're going to try to warn you off doing what you're doing. Because in business, not everybody has that courage to get out and just take the risks and create. So family and friends seem to want to protect you, and by doing that, they're going to try and stop you doing what you're doing. Find the people that you can put around you who will help you open your mindset, who will actually open your peripheral vision so you see from all aspects. It's really important. That's why I love masterminding, because I put in a room people who are all different mindsets so that everybody grows. Because it's important you understand the different mindsets that go and their benefit. Because for me, my personality style is, say, from Jeff's, the opposite of Jeff. So Jeff, to have me in business with, is great, because the things that I can't do, he can do. So that's where the secret is who do you put around you? You've got to know who you need to have around you. So I'd like to ask you, what are your thoughts and self-expectations of yourself? People ever thought about that? What do you expect of yourself? What do you want from yourself? Because whatever happens in your life is going to be what you want, nothing to do with anybody else. Because you will self-create it. So, choose carefully the 5 people you put around you who can support you, who can advise you, who can be there, who will listen to you, who can give you another perspective on what you're doing now or what you want to learn about. Who are the 5 people around you? Business colleagues, coach, mentor, speakers, trainers, whatever. Who are the people around you that make a difference to your life? If you've not thought about it, you should think about it. So you're never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. Because it doesn't matter what age, gender, the timing is, where you are, it doesn't make any difference, because it's all available to us all now. So today you can do anything you want. The world's our oyster. You just got to want to do it. So if you grow yourself, you'll actually grow your business. Because as I said earlier, who you are as a person needs to be exactly the same as who you are in business. If it's not, you're incongruent, as Melissa mentioned with somebody, and people will see your incongruency. Because we have the internet now, there's nowhere to hide. People can find out about you. So you've got to pull the masks down and be real. So you need to do personal development ongoing. And whatever way you decide to do that is up to you. So you've got to know when to start and what it is you're going to start, and you need to know where you are now and where you're going to go. And if it's growing your business and it's from a networking perspective, you've got to know where you need to go to do what it is you need to do. And it's different dependent on what you want to achieve. The people you're going to meet are going to be different. So you have to know where your marketplace is when you're putting yourself out there, if you're going to grow your business. How are you going to get there? You've got to know. What do you need to do? Who do you need to know? Where are you going to find them, or find what it is that you need? Life is about the journey, it's not about the destination. So this is why the goal needs to be big out there, because you're striving, that dream of where you're going. Because once you've got there, you probably don't want it anymore. You've got to keep looking out further. So it's really important, it's the journey, it's enjoying the journey, gaining out of the journey what you need to gain. Create your own roadmaps. Now this is a very creative one here, or two, because that's how the creative people do it, isn't it? Not the way I do it. I have lines and very much structured, because I've learned how to goal set from that perspective. Try to put a creative into doing it the way I do it and it doesn't make sense. But create your own roadmap, which will help you when you are goal setting to go where you need to go. I suggest to you that you look for a mind mapping product. There are hundreds of them, and there's plenty of trial versions and plenty of free versions on the net. Some of the big mind mapping ones that are really good, but you're going to pay a lot of money every month, or you're going to have to buy the product and you're going to pay quite a bit of money. But it's really important that you find a mind mapping tool that is your type of tool. If you just put mind mapping tool or mind mapping into Google, you're going to come up with hundreds of different informations, from pictures to different products and whatever. But I highly suggest that you find your own way of doing it, and when you start looking at mind mapping, you will get to see the different structures that they come in. You can be as creative as you want, because some people need to do this their whole life. It's just up to the individual how they go about it. The information will be exactly the same. It's how they create it on paper, on how they're going to do it. One of the hardest things people have is asking for help, is asking for what they want. I learnt many years ago, for me, whatever I was going to do, I talked about it. So if I decided I was going to take a trip, I was going to travel, I was going to do whatever, no idea how I was going to manifest it, no idea where I was going to get the money to make it happen, but if I started talking about it, I didn't have an opportunity not to do it, because people are going to say, when are you doing that? So for me as an individual, my motivation is to talk about what it is I want. So most people know what I'm looking for because I do talk about it. A lot of people don't. But if you don't talk about certain things, or if you need help in something and you don't ask anybody, you're not going to create it. It's not going to happen. Because I don't know what any of you need, who you need to meet, what you need. So if you let people know, especially people who are networkers, if you start, because they've got a lot of people around them, if you start saying what it is you want, who you want to meet, who you need in your business, what products you're looking for, when somebody comes in front of them, automatically, I know who you need. The secret is to match people. For me, I will tend to match the people with the people, knowing two people and thinking, no, that's not right, that one, because they're not going to synchronise. So I will place people together, for me, very much from a personality profiling perspective a lot of the time, because that's important for me, because I want a good match out of it. But if someone's not talking about what they want, you don't know. Very, very rare I can't give somebody something that they ask for. Doesn't matter what it is. Personally or in business. Because I don't know, but I know someone who does. And I cover right across all sectors of business. All levels of business. So it's a matter, you have to ask for what you want. And you will receive if you ask. But for some reason, people don't tell people what they need. You've got to know what it is you want. I'm going to show you a movie now. I hear that it's a movie. It's actually some beautiful music and they're wonderful words. The reason I say that is because the dash is the dash between your date of birth and your date of death. So it's all about the dash, which is your journey, not your destination. Your destination is death. This is something I've probably talked about for a long time because that dash is so important, because we don't know what time we have. And for me, every morning when I wake up, I look at what it is and I'm grateful I wake up. And when I go to bed at night, I have a process. I do exactly the same process. Because I believe we're blessed by what we have. We are blessed by the people that we have an opportunity to touch. We're blessed by the people that we're given the opportunity to have touch our lives. That dash is really important. So for years I've talked about, before I came across this, was what do you want said over your grave? I don't know if any others here have ever done eulogies before. I have. And when you have to sit and write about somebody's life and who they've been and how they've touched other people and what they've done, what their journey has been, it's quite a cathartic exercise. It's also when you go into, if you're going to a church or when you go to a funeral service of some kind, and you listen to what people say, especially the person reading eulogy, and more often than not, you had no idea about most of what they talked about because you didn't know the impact they'd had on other people. So make your dash important. Because graveyards are full of people who died with their dream inside them. Don't be one of them. It's really important that you create. So write a book. Have an adventure. You can have whatever you want in life if you want it. Go and make it happen. The tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside of us while we live. And we all let things die within us. Exit strategy. How many people here in business have thought about an exit strategy? 1, 2, 3. Really important. And here again, it very dependent on the business, because even if it's not an exit strategy, if you die, what happens to the business? So you really got to have had an exit strategy in place, because it's all about having a comprehensive roadmap of where your business is going to go and what is going to happen to it. Now, you know, there are a whole lot of different things you can do when you have an exit plan, and it's knowing, are you going to sell it? Are you going to hand it on to someone else? Is it going to be your business only is going to die when you go? So you've spent all this time creating something and it's going to be no longer. So it's important that you consider it, because if you're doing a business that you love, that is who you are and your passion, it's all about legacy. So what's your legacy? What are you leaving the world when you go, when you get to that final date after the dash? What's your legacy? What are you leaving behind? I need you to think about what success is. What is success to you? For me, success isn't about money. Success for me is about the difference I make in other people's lives. That I can enrich someone's life so they can do something that they want to do and do it better than they maybe could have done it, or that I've had an influence in some way. Because success is an experience and it's how you feel. Success is not about necessarily what you do, it's about who you are and how you make other people feel. So it's being able to go to bed each night with your soul at peace. For me, every day, every night I go to bed, I vocalise that if I don't wake up in the morning, it doesn't matter, because I've completed my work. Because for me, it's really important at the end of every day for me to be able to know where I made a difference. And if I die, I die, so what? It's not going to affect me. I'm gone. So it's really important that you think about, are you completing what you're meant to be doing? It's up to you. But for me, every day, I want to know I could have done no more in that day to have made a difference. Even in my darkest hours, you can always have a smile. Because some people only need a smile, a kind word. Because that's what life is all about. Thank you very much for being here today. I do appreciate having you here. I hope that you've got something out of it and that it's been beneficial for you to put your morning out to be here. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. So thank you.